Hey everyone, and welcome to 20 to Life. We're your hosts, Maria
and John.
Woo-woo.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. If this is your first time joining us, cheers.
Cheers indeed. I should have brought the bottle over.
That's all right. Today, we are talking about our trip to Taos, New Mexico in the RV.
Woo.
But in order to get to Taos, we had to drive to a tiny little town called Roswell, New Mexico.
Dun dun dun. May have heard of it.
You may have heard of it. That's it.
That's
Roswell.
Bye.
Bye.
I mean, so yeah, it was an overnight.
It was an overnight. We got there late-ish.
We got there pretty late. I mean, not super late.
Like 2 or 3-ish.
Okay, so late.
So we're not really late at all.
Late for the day. Well, but we had a long travel day. A very long travel day. So, in order to get to Roswell, we were leaving Terlingua, Texas. If you caught a previous episode where we talked about that.
And if you didn't, you got to go back and listen.
You like that little callback?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. So, we left Terlingua, Texas, which is southwest Texas. Go all the way up to Roswell. It was about a 300-and-something mile drive.
374 miles.
Something like that.
Correctly.
Something like that. It should have been
I have
like
a weird thing remembering
5.5 hours or something. It's like 5.5 hours if you don't take any breaks. Of course, in the RV, we try to. I take a break anytime I need to because it's not worth driving that when you're tired or any other thing. So.
Oh, that drive. That was the drive, right?
That was the drive. That's what I'm saying. So this drive was
moly.
very long and eventful because I would say of that ride, 30% of that ride was under road construction.
Yeah.
Meaning, in parts, the one, these are 4-lane roads or whatever, and they're down to 1 lane for both directions. So, like, a mile or two worth of traffic, not worth of traffic, but I mean, it's stuck in traffic for a mile or two. And then the road would open up, let a bunch of people go through, and there's a whole bunch of people on the other side waiting to come back the other way. In some cases, in other cases, it was just, a 4-lane road down to 2 lanes. But there was just so much traffic, and our speed was reduced significantly. And I don't go over 70 in the RV anyhow. So some of those roads are like 75 miles an hour. Anyways, it was just an exceptionally long drive where we were on the cusp of tornadoes, major thunderstorms, hit a bunch of wind.
We missed the worst of it. There were actual tornadoes in areas we were after we passed it.
Yeah, so
we had like a little, what do they call it? A dirt warble?
Dirt devil?
Dirt devil?
Dust devil?
Dust devil, where it, it's not quite a tornado, but the dirt is spinning and it produces enough wind that it literally is shaking the RV on the road.
I mean, it was like one of those.
I thought we were going to go off the road.
I was white knuckling it the whole time. I think audibly, if I had the recording, I looked down on a dash cam too late because it overwrites itself all the time. And I looked on it too late because I would love to get the footage of that because it also records audio from the inside. And I think I audibly said, "Oh shit, here we go," because I could see a box off the ground. I mean, this is like a 2-foot by 2-foot box, and it was off the ground spinning in front of the RV. And I was like, "Oh geez, that's wind."
I think I was trying to learn to crochet at the moment, and he said that, and I looked up, and I was like,
yeah, it was pretty scary. That one, you're like, "Oh god, oh god." Yeah, it was one of those moments.
Can we time out for 2 seconds? You have a little something right there. I think you got it.
I hope they can't see it. I did this and I didn't see nothing.
Take 2.
Break over. All right, so dirt. What is it? A dirt devil.
I think that's what, I don't know. That's what I called them as a kid.
So yeah, that was crazy. We finally made it through traffic. I think we were delayed like 2 hours. So maybe we were going to get there at 2 and we didn't get there till 4.
I don't think we got there till like 4 in the afternoon or something like that.
So
it was late.
By the time we checked in, got to our place, and then got into town, everything was pretty much closed
Closing
in
down.
terms of like if you wanted to go to an alien museum or anything like that, which I really didn't want to do. I
Yeah.
had zero desire to go to
The alien
any
bits.
kind of alien museum from 70
you-
years ago
you
when I
can't-
can look it up online and all you're going to show me is like reenactments, not reenactments, models. What do you
Yeah.
call those? Like
Models?
fake crap. I don't really want to see that.
I mean, right.
Like, I don't want to see a fake alien. Show me the real deal.
And there's a lot of them.
Show like or show me a video that I can't see online. I don't know. I it's not my thing.
I mean, look. So
But-
Roswell's famous for the alien landing, right? Like,
And the
all
other
that
thing
stuff.
is, I have.
So they held on to that.
If you caught the last episode, we have a new segment we're calling Hypes and Gripes. I have a
Hypes and
huge
gripes.
gripe with Roswell. Huge.
Which is
I did not see a UFO at all.
right.
I'm done.
Actually, there was one unidentified flying object that you did see.
Oh, there was. It turns out there was something within seconds of us getting to our RV spot. We were staying on a horse farm for the night.
A horse? You would call
horse
that a
farm.
horse farm?
Well, the daughter
you
is
had-
a horse dentist, and so she has her
Equine
horse equine dentist.
She's a horse orthodontist. I
She's
don't know
a
how you
horse
say it.
dentist.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm sure there's an official name, but I'm not one, so hopefully I don't offend anyone. But she's an equine
I think that's it.
dentist.
I was trying to look, but
Whatever. Correct me. Tell me what it is. But she does dental work for horses.
Yeah.
Takes care of their dental
there
health.
you go.
She
does dental work for
specializes
horses.
in
That
that.
makes sense.
And then they also had horses. So I'm calling it a horse farm.
All right.
All right. Moving on.
Legit.
So we
Moving
get
on.
there. John's setting up the RV. I'm sitting outside. Zero finally has grass. If you listen to the last episode, there was no grass and there was a lot of little prickers on the ground, and Zero hated it. And now he had grass. He was in heaven. So I sat outside so he could do his little poopy business. And this thing all of a
This
sudden
unidentified flying object.
flies next to me and lands on the ground next to me. And I swear to God, it kind of looked like a huge ant, but it also kind of looked like a fairy, and it also kind of looked like a hornet or a wasp. And I'm telling you, it just kind of like when it landed, it did this beautiful little dance with its legs, and I was like, oh my God, it's like a little fairy. It had this beautiful orangey brown wings, and it was just really, really a pretty bug until you identify it as
By name, not so
as a
pretty.
tarantula hawk wasp.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
I mean, all three of those things collectively are dangerous.
So,
Like independently are dangerous.
Yeah,
Right?
so I had to look it up, and basically the tarantula hawk wasp goes and murders the tarantulas so they can lay their eggs on them and push them back into their little hole in the ground, and then they take off and go find another tarantula and
That's
kill it and make more tarantula hawk
The Grim
wasps.
Reaper of tarantulas, known as
Very
the tarantula
docile
hawk wasp.
to us. They're not going to
Although
sting you
one of the most painful stings that you
if
can
you
get
were to get one.
lasts
And
days.
Never heard of those before in my life.
Yeah, so
and
Google that one.
within seconds saw one, and I thought it was so beautiful I couldn't wait to see one again until I found out what it did, and then it made me go, wait, we didn't see tarantulas in Terlingua. Are we going to see one here in Roswell, New Mexico?
Who'd have thunk it?
We didn't.
We didn't see a tarantula there
So,
either. Yeah.
gripe, no real UFOs. An unidentified flying object that we later
mean,
identified, not a fairy, so that's
I don't know that you can call it a gripe that you didn't see a UFO, but I
That is
guess
a
when the
gripe.
expectation is set. I mean,
you
does anybody
sold
really
me aliens and you did not deliver.
does anybody really have like expectations to go to Roswell and see a UFO? I mean, everybody knows it's like, okay, that happened
Right.
forever
So
ago.
again, why do I want to go to your museum?
But are there
to
continuous
see the
sightings
thing?
in Roswell? It's not even. We looked it up. It's not even on the top 20 most reported cities or whatever in America that
So
report
bummed.
UFOs.
So,
And by the way, like Vegas, they just had one, right? And
yeah,
was it
in Vegas. And maybe they saw aliens
We missed
too.
that.
So now we have to go to Vegas 74 years from now.
Apparently.
Um, the hypes of Roswell. We went to Black Cock Brewery. That's a fun name. And they're not really a brewery as much as they're a cidery, though. They say they're Black Cock Brewery.
Like, they might be all
there.
Black Cock. I have no idea.
They say they're a brewery, but they make ciders. Ciders or seltzers?
Oh, geez. Ciders?
I think it was a cider.
Because I said, why wouldn't it be a cidery?
Yeah, I think it was ciders, and they were delicious. And I had the best. I know it's going to sound crazy, but
That's a hype.
The best quesadilla of my life. They have a little food truck out there. Los Dos Hermanos, I think it was.
Isn't that the guy from Breaking Bad?
I don't know.
Never mind.
But it was Dos
I might be
Hermanos,
wrong. I'm probably
and
wrong.
it was a little food truck. Oh my god!
Yeah, it was delicious.
I want that quesadilla every day.
It was delicious.
So I would go back to Roswell just for that.
A little ways out of the way for
If I was ever like,
quesadilla,
but it was so good, and that salsa
yeah, that food was
was
spot on.
hot in the best way.
And their
possible.
ciders were good, or seltzers and
ciders,
stuff.
yeah,
like
that's what I
that stuff
said.
was really
It
good.
was
And I had
delicious.
another
It was
local
great.
beer. I had another local beer that they served. They serve local
It was a
beers,
really
but
cute
they
little
don't brew
place.
beer. And that beer was really
We
good.
were there on the
So-
wrong night. The night after we were there, they were going to have live music. So that
Yeah, we were there on a
but-
Sunday though, right?
Yeah, we were. No, it was.
No, Friday.
I don't remember when
Friday.
we were
No,
there.
we left Big Bend on Friday. Right?
No.
With Terlingua?
Saturday.
No, because we were going to do a hike on Friday. And then
It
you were
doesn't
like,
matter.
Damn it,
We
you're
were there on
leaving."
a night that they didn't have music.
Regardless.
That's what matters.
That's
So then from there, we went to Taos, New Mexico.
We went to another place in Roswell that was cool. The wine place? That was all right.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, we
place was cool.
did. It was like a little wine bistro place, and they had a musician there. I do have a gripe on the musician.
Yeah.
Do I call him out on it?
I mean,
If
I
you
don't know
go
his
to
name.
this wine
I don't know his
bistro
name.
in Roswell, or you happen to be in Roswell and you know about the wine bistro, there was a musician there. He had a beard. He
Like I
had
said,
glasses.
we don't got to get too specific on the man.
I don't know his name. Not worth remembering because he pissed me off.
He was good.
He was really, really good.
Like his voice was phenomenal.
Ever.
He only
He's
played from
supposed to play from 6
to 8.
6 to 8.
Yeah,
And he took a break at 6:30,
until like 7:15.
15.
Like it was a long time.
And then he came back on and
And did
played
another half hour.
two songs.
And then it was like,
and left at
8
like
o'clock.
7:45.
There it is.
Like he
Bye.
was packed up and ready to go at 8.
Yeah.
Not playing till 8.
Yeah.
And if I had owned that bistro and I had paid for that musician, I would have been livid.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, what the heck as a customer?
Yeah, because he like
So-
he sat at the end of the bar and ate a whole meal.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Look, I play music. I go out. I do that, and I take a break every 45 minutes. I try to do a 15-minute break, and I try to keep to that. You know, so if I do a 3-hour set, 6 to 6:45, take a break till 7 to 7:45, take a break. You know, whatever. Usually the last one I don't take a break. I just go all the way through 9, and sometimes even a little bit longer if we're having a good time. But this dude took his break at like 6:30, like 30 minutes into it, and ate an entire meal.
For like 45
sat and did a
minutes.
whole bunch of other stuff, 45 minutes, and then he
Didn't
was
socialize
like
with
packed
the
up and
patrons.
out.
It was like him and
Yeah, it was his
whoever, like his
girlfriend, wife, or
significant
something.
other and friend, whatever, and then went back and played 2 songs and then took the rest of the time to pack up
Bounced.
and go. So that
Bounced.
was a gripe for me, and I'm
Yeah.
calling it out because if you're a musician out there, don't do that shit.
Yeah, that was rude.
That's wrong. Also, if you hear the rain, I'm sorry. We are in Colorado Springs. There is a thunderstorm going on, and you're also going to hear a big meh in about 2 minutes because I'm washing laundry.
You can probably edit that out.
If we can edit it out, we will, but it might be in a pivotal moment. So,
It'll scare
right.
me.
Yeah. So moving
scares
on from Roswell, we went to Taos, New Mexico.
Yep.
Taos, New Mexico was a place that before going there, when we were planning our route, I really, really wanted to go. And originally, we were only going to get to spend 2 days in Taos, New Mexico, because our work trip, our work trip, our RV trip got planned around a work trip that I had. So we live in Florida. I'm based out of Colorado for work. And we had a meeting planned in Colorado while we were going to be on our RV trip. So our original trip, we were going to go up the East Coast to Massachusetts, where a lot of our family lives. We were going to stay there for like a month. We were going to do like Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire,
Maine,
maybe take some time
upstate,
off, go into
New York.
Canada, and then come back down. And when the work trip happened, I was like, okay, well, as long as we get to Massachusetts before I have to go to my work trip, I'll just fly from like Providence to Denver,
Yeah.
do the work trip, come back, and he could just stay for a week with his family and no big deal. And you were like, well, we could go hiking, like we could take our trip and do that trip and then maybe later go to Massachusetts, like later in the same year type of thing. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So we plan everything, we book everything, and like 2 days later, the work trip gets canceled and moved to later this year in Florida. So
Oh, the irony.
we're like, we've already paid for like a lot of the places. So I guess let's just
I mean, they have cancellation policies and stuff, but we had spent a lot of time
research
trying to find the
and
places
we were
that
like
we wanted to
super
go.
excited,
And by this point, we had already known about Big Bend, and we were so excited to go there.
yeah,
And Taos
And-
was
yeah.
another one. So it was just like, man, we have all these places that we want to
we
go.
had plans, and so I really wanted to spend more time in Taos. Like I don't know in my mind what it was going to be like, but in my mind I feel like it was going to be something between like Aspen and LA and Waco. Like if those three had a baby, that would be Taos. Like in my
Wow.
mind, I had built it up to be this like quaint little bougie town.
Quaint and bougie.
Quaint and bougie, and with like nightlife and stuff. And I just thought we were going to have so much fun there.
Yeah.
So I asked you to cancel a week in Colorado and tag it on to Taos.
Let's just do a whole week.
And
Yep.
so we ended up doing 9 days in Taos. 9 days.
Really?
Yeah, and I
Wow.
wish we did that in Terlingua, but we did it in Taos.
Didn't
And so we were working during the week while we were
By the way,
there.
Taos was another trip from Roswell to Taos. Was still a ton of road work on that on the highway system between those
John's
two.
driving that
And it
RV
was
like a
just
champ.
Golly, man, so much road work. So that was another long travel day too. So we were kind of frustrated getting in. And in Taos, Taos is now like it's small streets. I mean, they're narrow.
Can we talk about that? Okay, here's another gripe. I think this is going to be a heavy on the gripe episode.
All right.
So the roads.
There's some hypes to Taos, though, so
there's
we'll get
hypes.
there.
This is more of a
We'll
gripe
get there.
on John. So, driving into Taos, you're
The
going through
list
these
grows.
windy roads on the side of the mountain, and it is absolutely stunning and absolutely gorgeous. But when you're in an RV, you're like super high, and what you see is the cliff on the passenger side. And so I'm trying to distract myself. I got stuff to learn to crochet, and crocheting may not be for me because I'm not a musician, and I feel like crocheting is a lot like music or playing the guitar, right? So you have like your needle in this hand, and I know deal with this story,
No.
okay? Like let's just go with it.
I kind of feel you though.
You have like your needle in this hand that is going to do the crocheting. You have the yarn in your lap, and then this hand is doing all kinds of stuff. Like your pinky is looping the thread, and then it loops around your index finger, and that's like the tension, and then you're holding the yarn with this hand while you're looping over here. So everything
What do you call that
is
thing?
like,
A loom? What do you call that? Like the big thing where
I
they
don't
make
know.
like
It doesn't matter. It's
carpets
not
or
part of
whatever?
this story.
It kind of is.
So it's not, because I'm
like
not
your hand- it's
I'm
like your
not
hand-
making a loom.
No, it's like your hand is the loom. It's like doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So my hand is moving and doing stuff, and this hand is moving and doing stuff.
I thought it was
And
relevant.
you have to like count your stitches. And so I'm learning, and I put a podcast on to entertain him while he's driving, and I'm trying to sit there and count and pay attention to all these little things, and he's like, "Would you look at that? Oh my gosh! Did you hear
look at
that?
Would
And I'm
you
like,
look at that?
every single time I had to undo it, start over, because I would lose my count. Or I would look up and I'd be on a freaking cliff and I'd be freaking out. Like,
And then
huge
there's
gripe.
me.
Just let me
and
count.
then she gets
Let me
all
learn.
panicked, right? Because she's like, if you're not looking at the road, I have to look at the road. Who's looking at the road? If you're looking over at the mountains, what am I?
Right?
Who's driving?
And he'd be like, did you see that? It
I'm like,
was
I
a
got
road
peripheral
runner in the
vision.
road. I'm
There
like,
was a road runner, but that wasn't in the
watch
mountains.
the road.
It wasn't in the mountains.
So,
Anyways,
just let me learn to crochet.
Another missed opportunity on the
That
on
was
the
great.
dash cam though. Another missed opportunity because there was so much beauty on the way
Oh
into
my God, it
Taos.
was absolutely beautiful.
So between
that I
Santa
couldn't
Fe
watch.
and Taos is a gorgeous ride. So they have this thing called the low road to Taos and the high road to Taos. The low road to Taos is just breathtaking between Santa Fe and
Don't
getting
do that.
into the
It's
city.
going to make noises.
It was awesome. Or the city of Taos, town of Taos. I'm not sure what it is, but
Yeah.
that was a gorgeous ride, man.
It was beautiful for what I could pay attention to.
It was
But
pretty.
that was when I said, I am going to need to
Valium.
call my doctor and get on some kind of anxiety meds, because if I can't distract myself and try to learn to crochet, and he doesn't like it if I'm on my phone, so I try not to be on my phone while we're driving.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Do we have to talk about that?
You said let's talk about
I mean,
it.
like, so
Do you want to talk about it?
So look, I have a thing, right? If we're driving together, if we're doing this travel thing together, I want to be together. I don't want to look over and you be like,
He's driving. He's paying
Scrolling
attention to the
through the
road. Why is he
apps.
looking at me? Why is he looking at
I
me?
want entertainment. I'm just saying. I got podcasts.
I'm not
but
here for your entertainment.
I love that you just did that.
Just saying.
I don't even know where to go from there. Anyways, people know what I mean. If you're driving,
No, they
it's
don't.
nice to have company.
Okay, if you are,
I don't want a podcast to be my company.
If
I
you're
want
an
my company
RVer,
to be my company.
and you're the
Oh,
the
yeah, if
the
you're an RVer,
driver,
comment.
what does your spouse or significant other do while you're driving?
Any of your
Are
passengers.
they sitting in the
Any of 'em.
passenger seat in the front with
If there's
you?
70 passengers in your
Are
thing,
they,
what are they doing?
taking a nap in the back if they need one? Are they
What is that?
making you
Who does
lunch?
that?
Like what are they doing? Because I sit in the passenger seat the whole time for 5 hours, and if I look at my
Bro,
phone,
like this. Don't say you don't.
because I can't look at my phone or crochet, so I fall asleep. So I have no choice.
Oh, God.
I put on Small Town Murder for you,
Oh, Small Town Murder, man. I love that.
and
I love that
fall
podcast.
asleep.
Love
It's so good. We listen to Small Town Murder, but we try to find a murder close or
To where we're
through a
going.
town that we're traveling through. So it makes it kind of fun.
It does.
But
it's interesting. But that's
don't
is it
stop this
Small
to
Town
listen
Murder
to
or
that.
Small Town Murderers.
You
I don't know which
listen
one
to
it
that
is,
later.
but it's awesome.
So anyways, on to Taos. So we get there, and there's like a little shopping district, and I don't want to call it a gripe.
Do we
because
take photos down there?
I don't think I did.
If I have a couple of
I
pictures of
might
it, we'll
have,
put some pictures
but,
on there. But if not, you can look it up online.
So what had happened was
Is this gonna be a lie? Is this gonna be a lie?
Monday through Wednesday,
So,
a lot of things were closed, and we couldn't quite grasp what was happening. Like, is anything in Taos open? Like, what's up with this town? And then we found out that the entire town's internet crashed, and their cell service is provided through the internet service
Or
provider
the internet is provided through the cell service.
or something, and that was also
Anyway, cell
crashed.
towers were down.
So
it was crazy.
we're sitting here working all day in our RV just fine.
Hashtag Starlink.
We have
What's
Starlink, so our phones are working because we have the Wi-Fi on the phones. We're talking all day on Zoom,
Yep,
and
we
we're
have
doing our.
no idea
we have
that
no idea.
the rest of the town is suffering through this massive cellular outage.
So we're going places, and they're like cash only, and we're like,
And we're like, what is wrong with
Thankfully,
Taos?
we had cash, but we were like,
be
what
like-
is up with this town?
Like this is going on my list of gripes.
This is a gripe.
Right now. This is a cash only
And it
town.
turns out
Okay.
they had an outage, and there was so much construction going on in there. So my guess is someone hit something, and because
I don't
it
know.
is in the mountains and a bit remote, that it just took 3 days.
But until we knew that, until we understood that was a thing, Taos was just gripes. Well, not entirely true. So
night
hold on.
one, we went to the winery.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, gripes. I
Gripes.
was like, wow, is this really what Taos is? This is
Everything's
uneventful.
closed.
It's just very uneventful, and I was not expecting it to be as uneventful as it was.
Yeah.
Afternoon thunderstorms, which is kind of expected
Cleared
this time
up.
of year, but afternoon thunderstorms kind of prevented us from wanting to even try to go for a hike in the afternoon because, man, there were flash flood warnings, there was severe thunderstorm warnings, and I was like,
Lightning.
definitely don't need to be out and that kind of stuff. So that prevented us from. Look, we just want when we explore a town, we want to get out and really love to go for hikes, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we really want to do is enjoy nature and go explore different things in there. We also like the food, the beverages, the nightlife,
And then
stuff like
the
that.
crazy part was I feel like the crazy, and we should have had a freaking clue. Okay, because here's the thing. So we're there on Sunday, we did our thing. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But Monday, we go to the grocery store and they're like cash only. And then the credit card system came back up. She's like, oh, hold on. It looks like it came up. You can use your credit card. And then the power went out in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And we had this weird moment. John got a photo of it.
I
Our
do. I will
bagger was this
put
young
it
kid.
in
He
here.
was freaking hilarious. And he's like, hey, he's like, will you shake my hand while the power's out? And I was like, okay. So I'm like this. And he's like, but now that I'm shaking his hand, he says, but we have to keep doing this until the power comes back on.
And then he does
And then
this.
he's like, but let's have a staring contest. So we're like this, staring at each other.
like
And
smiling.
he was talking to me the whole time. That lasted about 5 minutes. Thank goodness the power. I mean, I literally was like, I don't think
So,
I can do this anymore. And he's like, I think you can.
In
And
her
then the
brain,
power went back
in her
on.
brain, 5 minutes. It was probably
It was like 5 minutes.
83 seconds. I
It
mean, it was
was-
like less than a minute
It
and a half.
was not. We had a full on conversation about my hair, his hair, what we were doing.
Okay, maybe 3 minutes. Five's
And then
long.
the power came back on, and we were able to put the groceries on our debit card, which was nice. But we did minimal groceries because we thought it was going to be cash only. So we did like maybe $75 worth of groceries.
And we thought we were going to go out every night to go
that
eat
was the
and
place
explore
I was
Taos.
looking forward to going to, right? And I was like, we're gonna go out to eat every night. We're gonna meet the locals. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fun. And if you live in Taos, New Mexico, people want to go there and meet you. Be nice.
I mean, seriously, yeah.
like people just don't want to meet tourists there. At least we did meet some nice people.
If people,
But they were
if-
just
if
kind
you
of
are from
beside
Taos and
that
you
young
see
boy at the
those-
grocery store was the nicest person we met.
Nope. There was another super nice person. The girl that worked at the boutique. She was so.
I think she might have
nice.
been high.
I don't care. She was super sweet.
She was-
So whatever.
But
Anyhow. Gosh, what was I just going to say? Yeah, so if you do live in Taos, and people try to engage you, and they're interested. They're not just. Some people might make small talk just to make
That
small
could be
talk, but
anywhere
some
in
people
the
are just
U.S.
interested.
Like,
You know
I
what
don't
I
know.
mean?
I don't know how you live in a tourist town and hate tourists.
And
It's such
that's
a
kind of what it
weird
felt
thing
like. It
to
was
me.
like they build themselves as a tourist town, but maybe they prefer that only during ski season or something like that.
almost like we were bothering them.
It was almost like more of you.
Like we went to this,
Yeah.
this little bar place, and they were like the one girl in there was super interested, and the two guys in there were like, Yeah, we have music playing, so why don't you go listen to that?
I'm pretty
They
sure.
might as well
I'm
have
pretty
said
sure
that.
the owner was legit like this,
Oh yeah, he was on his phone,
and then he's like,
and John's
"Oh,
like,
Florida." Huh?
so we're
Cool.
like,
Right on.
we're like, hey, our phones are on SOS. Is your phone working? And he's like, we have limited Wi-Fi. We're reserving it for us.
And then
Went
right
right
back
on
to
his
his
phone.
phone.
We're like, we
I was
just
like, "Cool.
phoned
So this is
down.
your distillery, huh?" Well, I won't be buying anything.
That was interesting, and then things looked up from there. So once we
Yeah, that was kind of like the last
that
poo-poo
was
night,
Wednesday,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
things
then
really looked up from there. Now there is some
we
beauty.
did go up to Red River, and I it's funny because I feel like I'm getting the gripes out of the way, because it was like gripe Monday through Wednesday,
Yeah.
but we had Red River. We went to a place that's like highly touted to eat, and it sucked.
Yeah,
It was. I'm like, who's coming here that thinks this is awesome?
So Red River, I think, is another.
But I'm not saying
like,
the name
ski
of the
town.
place. Yeah.
It's another ski town, right? So, so I mentioned earlier the low road to Taos and the high road to Taos. The high road to Taos is, I think it's the same thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. They also call that the Enchanted Circle, and it goes basically from Taos all the way around up into the mountains, up through Red River, through Angel's Fire,
Eagle's Nest.
Eagle's Nest, Angel Fire, and then back down into Taos, and then it's like a 86 mile drive all the way around. Super pretty. So we were like, oh, let's do that, because there's this place that's got mad reviews on Yelp. It was like so good, and
it sucked.
It was.
Their drinks sucked. Their food sucked. It just sucked.
Ambiance. I mean, like the
location,
the location,
the decor, amazing,
banging.
I really,
Like,
and the
walked
reviews.
in,
I'm like, who's coming here?
And
Have
we
you ever
walked in
been to
like,
a restaurant
oh,
before?
dude, this is awesome. Merchandise,
Amazing.
nailed it.
And the town
Everything.
itself, the town of Red River, super cute town,
Yep.
lots of little shops and boutiques. So you could spend a day shopping in Taos and then a day shopping in Red River. They have a little wine boutique there. I mean, both places.
That was cool. What was the name of
Once-
that place? Give them a shout out.
I forget the name. It was really cool, though.
Something about water, raging water. No, that's not right.
It was the only wine boutique in Red River.
Yeah, I want to give them a shout out. They were cool. They were cool.
They were really cool, really good. They were super friendly. They have a little front porch with rocking chairs, which is nice. They
yeah, it
have
was a cute town. It's a cool town.
The town of Red River was awesome.
Very
like
disappointed in that stop, man.
If you're a skier, you'd probably love the town just because it was so quaint and beautiful with all these little stores and shops. There's a few restaurants there. The drive there is gorgeous. We couldn't do a couple of hikes there because they had a lot of down trees. We don't know why.
Yeah, it looked like a
but
major
it was
storm
like
came through or something like that.
thousands of downed trees
And
have
they're all
wiped
like, in
out
the same
hiking
direction.
trails.
Just they're all in the same direction too. It's like a major storm went through there and wiped a whole bunch of stuff out.
we couldn't do that.
But we did do one.
Yes,
fantastic.
That's what I was going to
hike.
get to.
Yeah,
that was a hype. That's
big
when things
hype.
started looking up, right? Like we got to Red River. Besides the restaurant, the town was a hype. Then we got back into Taos and things were open. That was a hype.
Yep.
And so the gripe of Taos was circumstance. It's not the town itself, except for maybe that's why the people were unfriendly. Maybe they were like stressed out. They couldn't reach their loved ones.
Right? Maybe they were pissy because they couldn't get on Instagram. Like,
right?
I don't know
like
what they were
so they were
about.
going through social media
They're just
withdrawals.
Like,
I can't listen to 20 to Life. What will I do? We were there. We could have entertained you.
Ramble about bullshit.
Ah, you missed out, people. I can talk.
Like we could have done it right there, live.
Right?
Live.
So yeah, so we did this hike. Do you want to talk about the hike?
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
that was the hype.
So look,
I thought I was gonna die.
This episode started
kind of like
kinda
here's what
meh,
sucks,
right?
But
we're gonna go through
We're
a lot of really
here.
cool things because we haven't even talked about opening night.
We have not talked about opening night. Let's talk about
All right,
opening
let's
night.
do that.
We are
Then
so all over the
okay,
place.
I need to.
You know what had happened was John made us an old fashioned for this episode. So
I did. So that's.
This is what happens.
By the way, this old
I
fashioned.
do have notes to keep us on track though. So
All right,
let's
cool.
start with
stay
day
on track,
one.
But let's just say where this is. So this is made with a rum
Yeah.
from
Gator Brothers? No.
No. Wildcat Brothers Distilling at Gator Cove
Yes.
in,
Louisiana.
but where? Lafayette, Louisiana. Man, what a
So
stop.
good.
That's another episode.
So
Like we will do,
good.
I could do a whole episode on a one night stop.
Just in Lafayette.
That was awesome. Anyways, so
Kate, if you're out
that
there,
that's
thank you.
the contributing factor
Yes.
to our all over the place.
Okay, so
Opening night.
So we get into Taos. We get to
Long
our
ass
campsite.
drive.
We stayed at, what was the name of the campsite?
Montebello
Montebello
RV Park.
RV Park. First of all,
It's
amazing.
just outside of Taos.
Beautiful little RV park. The owner is this wonderful little older gentleman, retired military. Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah, retired. Yeah, he did over 30
Yeah, he
years
did
in the
like
Army.
30 years or something. Yeah.
His passion for taking care of the RV park
His passion
and
is
the people.
It's so clear.
And I mean, he took out a map. He's showing us where to go, like get breakfast here. Don't forget to visit here. So he was actually, you know what? That's probably why I thought the people of Taos were so meh, because he was so nice.
He was the first person we met.
And he set the bar,
dog.
here.
Yeah.
And he was out there. I mean, just super nice gentleman.
It took us 30 minutes to check into the RV park because
Wow,
this dude was just like so thorough and so thoughtful about what are you doing here? What do you kind of want to do? And just throwing brochures in front of us like, well, if you want to do that, you should do
Circling
this.
thing on
Here's
the
a
map.
map. If you want
Here's
to do
how long
hiking,
this
here's
is
some
gonna
like
take.
hiking things you can do. I mean, it was a beautiful introduction to Taos.
And he
the view
takes
from the RV
meticulous
park.
care
Yeah.
of his RV park.
Yep.
Like meticulous. I don't know if it was his son that was out there with him, but he had another gentleman with him, and every day they were like planting flowers or
Doing something new. I
cleaning
mean, it was
up,
awesome. Beautiful park.
And we had never been more level on this trip
Yeah.
than there.
Yeah.
That was like the most level we've been. So anyways, that was like our introduction. So we check in, and on our way in on that crazy road that John made me look, I saw a winery, and we decided to take the 40-minute drive back.
I mean, look, dude, I've been driving hours. It was a travel day, but it
Yeah.
was also a weekend, and we said it was a Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday, so
Yeah.
we did. Yeah, so we did the.
Anyways, Saturday we go back 40 minutes to the winery, and there was an older group of white people, and this is
Wow.
I feel like this
It's
is
very okay.
crucial to the story. It's an older
you?
group of white people playing music that they learned from a gentleman from a tribe in Africa who created this sound on
Did he create the sound
marimba? So he created this music, like this style of music on the marimba.
Did he create it?
That's what she said.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so they were playing. They had the their clothes had like the I don't know. I don't want to say it's the colors or the
Like an African
talisman, but it was
flair?
like
I
an
don't know.
African print of that guy's town, and they were playing.
I didn't know
that
that.
guy's
Did
music.
she say that? That's cool.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
He was in the same conversation with me with this lady. This is how well you pay attention.
There was a lot.
Actually, you kind of took off, and you were more into the marimba than
I
what
was
she was
into the
telling
music
us.
part of it, and she's into like
The story part of it.
history part of it.
So, but it was really cool music, and they did an amazing job. There was there was one song that had words. The rest did not have words.
And it wasn't really words. It was more like
A chant.
kind of thing.
No,
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
to say something.
Yeah, it was like chants though, but it wasn't like.
I forget what it was. But that was cool.
Oh, eh, oh, ah, something like that, right? Like
I have
it
something
was
sticky on my hand.
simple syrup.
So we had that, and then they had a food truck there, and with the food truck we met Julio and
Julio and
his brother.
his brother. I forget his brother's name.
And
That's horrible.
they made chuletas with like
potatoes
and veggies. I mean, who
veggies
cares?
in
Like
it.
what you're not here to listen to what we ate.
So
but the
it was
food
good,
was
though.
good. We had a conversation
I mean, the
with
food
them.
was really good.
They introduced us to their friend Owen, who invited us back to his place for karaoke. And we went.
His place. Hold on. Owen's place is not his home.
It's
Owen's
like his
place
man
is
cave.
like his place of business / man cave.
Yeah.
So Owen runs
a little
like
coffee.
he has like a little coffee and shaved ice.
Yes.
Right. Like food truck kind of thing.
It looks like a donut.
And then, along with that, he's also got a shop that has like
screen printing,
and stuff like that. The oven mitts.
Yeah.
Anyways, that his mom makes and he makes. So he sells like
touristy
merchandise that
items,
they
like,
make.
Yeah.
And coffee and the shaved ice or whatever. Anyways, so
and he's
this
got
is
a
place
whole
of
entire
business.
karaoke
But he's
setup.
got like tons of music stuff, a whole karaoke setup, and he's like, "Well, this is kind of like my hangout. This is what I do." And
I think we stayed with him till like 1 a.m.
Yeah,
doing karaoke.
We left the winery.
Yeah.
On the way back, there was a brewery.
Oh yeah.
That we were like, "Oh, let's just stop here because the winery didn't have food.
Yeah.
The brewery had pizza, and the people at the winery said, well, sorry, the winery did have food
because we
ate."
But it was early.
But
we stayed there
early.
so long.
And we stayed
that
there
we
listening to
wanted
the
to eat
music
again.
we stayed there listening to the music for a while.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, well,
8-ish,
it's probably time to eat.
9-ish.
And so we hit the breweries because they had pizza, which was good.
It was good pizza.
And there was more musicians there, and they
we
were
listened
great.
to them till
so
they
we stayed
finished.
and listened to them. Desert Mind, I think they were called, so look them up. And then as we were leaving, I see the coffee and shaved ice place, and I'm like, no way, that's Owen's place that he told us to go to. And we jam in the parking lot, and it's just us and Owen, and we hang out for another
had a blast.
90 minutes or 2 hours with this dude. We had a blast. This was day 1 in Taos, and we were like, dude,
expectations are
we're like Taos is going to be banging. And then Monday, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and we were like,
so we probably should have started the
wow.
story there with the high, right?
No. I think it makes sense
it was
to
like
say
ebbs and flows.
this is kind of like where we ended up, like mentally in Taos.
Yeah.
Because there were so many expectations, right? Day 1 was John, the camp host and owner of the place, I believe. And then Julio and the food, the winery, the marimba. And Owen, I mean, it was just like
boom,
damn,
boom,
can Taos
boom.
get better? This is going to be a crazy cool week. And then
we are ready and prepared to eat out and go out every night. We don't have food in the RV.
So ready. And it was like crickets till Thursday.
Yeah. So
what day was it? Wednesday morning did we get up and go down to the bridge?
Oh yeah,
the
bridge is cool.
Over the
they have a
over the Rio
suspension
Grande.
bridge over the Rio Grande, 600
is it a
feet
suspension
up.
Bridge? I don't think it is.
It's called a suspension bridge.
Okay.
It's the Rio Grande suspension bridge. So I'm pretty sure it's a suspension bridge, and it's 600 feet over the Rio Grande. I'm not as afraid of heights today as I was years ago, but they can still get me. And a suspension bridge 600 feet above rocky water.
I mean, it's
Lord.
a drop. And we will insert photo there, here, wherever.
Yeah, I was
but it is
freaking
a
out.
long
I literally had
drop.
to talk myself into walking to the middle of the
sort
bridge.
of wish I recorded some of the audio on the way across because there's a lot of profanity, but a lot of self-psych up. Which
You're
is
a
awesome.
firewalker.
Which is
I can
awesome.
Do this. You
Yeah,
got
the
this.
firewalker thing, man.
Yeah.
It comes in.
And I do this too. And if you're a firewalker too, you know why I'm doing this.
Little shout out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay too. We won't get into that today.
Google it. So anyway, so we make it to the middle. Kudos,
to the
my
middle.
girl.
Yeah,
To the
I
middle
did
of
it.
the bridge. Got a photo of that. Got a video of that.
I would have drank this whole thing in one sip.
And that was beautiful. I mean, it's it's a one thing, right? Like you stop there, you do it, you're kind of done.
But then we went back Wednesday
went back
morning.
2 or 3 times.
I'm sitting there. It was freezing in the mornings.
Yeah.
Like freezing.
Like 40
And
in the 40s. We're from Florida, man. So the 40s
we're
is
not
like
from Florida.
super,
We
live
currently
in Florida.
live in Florida. So we are working at 7 in the morning. We're now at Mountain Time, so now we're working at 5 in the morning. And
Oh, yeah, that
so
was
it's
the transition,
4:30
too.
in the morning, and I grab my laptop. I I bring it to the bed with me because I'm not getting out of my comforter just yet. And I'm working from there, and I have the window open, and I see the sun starting to come up. And as it's coming up, the clouds are halfway into the mountains, and it was beautiful. And so we decided,
And
you
it
know what?
almost looked like the clouds were from the RV park 5 miles maybe to the gorge, so that it's flat. I mean, like you just drive straight across the gorge, and there's no like up or down between the RV park and there. And it looked like those clouds were almost coming out of the gorge from where we were. It looked like they were going to be right on top of that. And I was like, we got to go take photos.
Let's take 5
We
minutes and
have
go
to
for a
take
ride.
photos.
We got to go get photos. Turns out that's not what was happening with the clouds. They were not over the gorge, but we saw bighorn sheep.
Yes, ma'am.
So we saw bighorn sheep on the side of the road. Super cool. Never seen one before, and they're wild.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen them at a zoo probably,
Yeah,
but never like wild ones, just hanging
and
out.
we had heard the story. So that was the other thing we did in
Oh,
Taos.
it's another
We
big
went
hype.
to
Yeah.
we went to the Indian Pueblo on Sunday. That was a hype. That was absolutely amazing. You pay $25, I think, to get in, right? It was like $25 to get in.
$25, something like that.
And after you get
Also,
in,
shout out, they do a military discount.
yeah, they do a tour for free. So it's like part of your admission if you want to do the tour, or they give you like a little paper that kind of tells you everything that you're seeing if you don't want to do a tour. And in the Indian Pueblo, it is only allowed the members of that tribe to live inside that pueblo. And they have about 15 families today that live there. And they have to live off the earth, so they don't have electricity. They don't have running water.
So
There's like a river that runs through it, and they have to use that water. But they don't, because they can't sell it, and they can only give the homes to members of their family. If the family doesn't want to live in the pueblo, they have the option of making a little shop. So they might make the oven bread, or they might
jewelry,
sell jewelry,
drums,
like
all kinds of really, really beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so that was a really cool day. Just exploring through the pueblo.
And our tour guide, I wish I remembered her name.
She was amazing.
Was so thorough with the entire history of that entire pueblo. I mean, it was just I learned an incredible amount. It was an awesome day. It was an awesome
And one
experience.
of the things that she shared,
another hype.
It was a super, super hype. It must do if you go to Taos. And there's other pueblos in Santa Fe, and we didn't get to explore those. And
New Mexico.
yeah,
I mean,
most were in Santa Fe. There's like 8 in Santa Fe or something like that.
Something.
I do wish we had time to go down to Santa Fe to explore them, but we didn't. But she did tell us that.
I mean, I guess we had Tuesday, Wednesday.
Had
whatever.
we known, but we were working till 3,
yeah.
and they close at 5, and Santa Fe's
Santa
an
Fe's
hour and a half
90 minutes away. Yeah,
so
it
wouldn't have been able to happen. But she was telling us that one of the things that they made an agreement with the government was to allow them to reintroduce the bighorn sheep back into the wild population, because it is an animal that they hunt for their food and for some of their sacred dishes.
Oh, I didn't catch her say that.
So
that's cool.
It became like, oh, we got to see the wild bighorn sheep. And you know, when we did talk to people, they were saying, oh, have you seen a bighorn sheep yet? Have you seen a bighorn sheep yet? And I'm like,
and I'm thinking, like, no, dude, I'm in Taos. I'm not going to see them till I go up in the mountains, right? There's mountains right there, but they're 20 minutes away. You got to get into the mountains. I'm thinking, are bighorn sheep going to be down here?
They were.
Yeah, completely.
So that was kind of cool. So there was that. The hike that we did. Let's talk about the hike. That was a hype.
Oh yeah.
I had a little bit of a gripe on the hike, but that was personal. That was not.
Little bit, yeah.
That was all personal.
Yeah.
That was me, not anything Taos or hike related. It was all me.
Yeah.
So we go on this hike, and what was the name of the hike?
Middle Fork
Middle
Trail?
Fork East.
No. There was an East Fork, Middle Fork, and some West Fork maybe.
Middle Fork.
So we were at Middle Fork
Lake. Middle Fork Lake
Lake
Trail.
Yep. Yep.
So this hike,
Nice.
you have
Teamwork.
to go about 2.5 miles up the side of this mountain. So you're starting at about 8,000 ish square feet, give or take.
Square feet?
Eight
Starting
thousand.
at
The
8,000
elevation of
square feet.
8,000
Yeah,
feet.
8,000 or 8,500, something like that.
And then you're going up to over 10,000 feet in elevation. And it is 2.5 miles up, 2.5 miles back, and you're going up about 2,000 feet of elevation in 2.5 miles. So just under 100 feet no, just under 1,000 feet a mile. And you have to go
It's not
through
pulling it
all
up.
these
I'm trying to look it up
switchbacks,
on all trails.
and you have to walk through a waterfall.
Well, you have to walk. You have to walk through the
base,
river,
like the little base
not
of the
through the
waterfall.
waterfall.
So it's like about. Give or
there
take,
were
about
some
this
spots
deep.
probably about
Some
10
spots
inches
a
deep.
little deeper,
So there's
but
tons of snow still up in the mountains, and it's causing a lot of runoff. So it's a lot more water on the trail than normal.
not the normal. Well, yeah, because
For
they
this
had
time
more
of year?
rain. Yeah,
Yeah,
they had
more
more
rain
rain
and
and
snow and
stuff.
stuff.
So as we're doing this hike, I just got to a point where I actually okay. I don't know if you've watched the other episodes, if you're a friend of ours and you know like what we're doing, but we are trying to do 50 hikes in 50 states, hopefully by the end of our 50th year. Originally it was supposed to be by the end of our 50th year. Now it's just 50 hikes in 50 states because we lost a year, and that's a whole other story for another podcast. And so we love hiking. We look forward to hiking. It is one of our favorite pastimes. And
Yet we live in Florida.
I actually said while on this trail, I think I hate hiking now. I never want to do this again.
Because,
I want to turn around. I want to go home.
Well, what's the primary reason for that, though? I mean,
There's
really.
a couple. My allergies were bothering me, and my sinuses were totally clogged, and I couldn't breathe. And I was dealing with the elevation gain and struggling with that. And it was freaking cold. And I think that was it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
primarily
also got
though.
water in my hiking boot. My mistake.
I mean, yeah. We walked right through the water. I mean, we tried to not walk through the water.
I slipped.
But man, when you come off the rocks or come off the wood that's laid out there,
and I
you're just in the
always
water.
keep extra socks in my hiking bag, and I had taken them out that morning, and I was like just reorganizing the bag and forgot to put them back in. So I had to go with
But
wet
I mean,
socks.
primarily we live at sea level, right?
Yeah.
And man, when you start a hike,
19 feet. I looked it up. 19 feet of
19
elevation.
feet. This hike, it finally came up. This hike starts at, oh man, it's got 1,236 feet of elevation gain.
1,200? I thought it was 2,000.
1,236 feet, and we ended up at 10,870.
So then it started around 9 something.
What did I say? 1236.
Wow, I had it all wrong.
Well, I mean, no. So Red River's at 8,500 feet. We had to go through Red River and then
And
more
go
up
up.
into the mountains to get there. So either way, we're starting a hike at 9,000 feet, dude. If you live at 0
With
feet or
allergies
19
and
feet,
sinuses
and you've only been out of 19 feet for
15 years,
Well,
give or take.
I mean a week though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
out of it,
I mean,
yeah.
Texas. So when we were in Big Bend, I think the highest point we reached was 8,600 feet or something like that in
6,000? I
Big
thought it was
Bend,
like
and
6,000.
even that was like, so. Anyways, the elevation was the kicker. I mean, that was a big
so
kicker.
I was dying. And
There wasn't enough water on this planet.
then we got to the top
me.
and we got to the lake. And it was all worth it. It
was
was so beautiful.
Every hike is worth it.
So beautiful. I would do it again.
Yep. Insert photo here.
And then we
handful
came to
of photos.
Colorado and thought we were going to do a lot of hikes after work, and it's been raining every freaking day.
We got to Colorado,
Springs.
and it has the day one, first full day here in the Springs was
Rain.
Rain all day.
Hailed
Tornado
3
warning. Tornado warnings.
times.
Hail.
But that's
and,
a
like,
whole
in the
other
50s.
whole other
I mean,
discussion.
blech.
So
Okay,
the
let's go
hike
back.
was amazing.
Let's go back. Yeah, hike.
We got to the top. It was so worth it. It was beautiful. We came back down. I was absolutely miserable with the allergies. And we had done a trip to Montana last year, and I struggled pretty bad with a hike there. Turns out I had COVID. And so I did this hike with COVID, and I'm sitting here trying to do this hike, telling him, like, you're going to have to get a helicopter to get me off this mountain because I can't breathe. And he's like, you're such a baby. And he's calling the kids, and, like, he did, like, a
say
live...
you're a baby.
He did a live FaceTime with the kids, and he's like, look at your mom. She's, like, such a baby.
Mom's dying.
And turns out I had COVID. So, duh, I couldn't breathe. So now he's like, great. We have been in restaurants here in New Mexico. We talked to John. We've done this. We've done that. If you have COVID again. And I'm like, oh.
I don't have COVID. I just have allergies. Which is also what she said in Montana.
In Montana.
So.
Turns out it was just allergies. We bought Flonase that night. Came home. Went to bed. Took it. Woke up like the next day. But John's like, so you want to go on another hike? No, Mom,
I mean, look, that was a lot. That was a lot. We were both pretty wiped that night.
I was dead.
We were wiped.
So I found these mineral springs.
Yeah.
So kind of making up for the hot springs that we didn't get to do in Terlingua, we found mineral springs in Ojo Caliente. It's a resort in Taos, New Mexico. It's really
it's not in
outside.
Taos. It's in Ojo Caliente.
Yeah, but it's
That's
like
a town.
But they call it Ojo Caliente Taos. And then they have one in Santa Fe, and they have one in Taos. They say it's in Taos, but it's not. It's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes away.
Yeah, it was about 40 minutes outside of Taos.
Oh, such a good day.
What we could have done was go to Santa Fe and explore Santa Fe, go relax in this mineral springs, hot springs type of stuff. And I'll tell you what, after that hike, option 2 sounded a whole lot nicer.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, another hype.
Oh my God,
Another
such a hype.
And I'm not really big into that, like, spa life, but golly, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Oh,
I would do that again.
They had different mineral pools. So I don't know how, like, if they're going to different depths or what, but, like, one's a salt pool. One's an iron pool.
Lithia was another one?
One was lithium. Yeah, lithium. Not lithium, lithia. They had a mud pool. That was amazing.
Did that twice, bro.
Yeah, it was so good. Then they just had like natural hot.
Yeah, it was just very, very cool. Beautiful place.
Just amazing. We spent like pretty much the entire day there.
Yeah,
and that's
like
how we ended our
hours.
trip. We ended our trip to Taos at Ojo Caliente's resort.
Then went home, packed up the RV, got ready for our next trip to old Colorado Springs.
So it started here, then it kind of did one of these, and then it went right back up. So it was like started high, got a little low. It wasn't like a low. It was
just
more like
right? It was disappointing. No, look,
where are
every night
it's not what I expected. I think
we were able
I
to find good food.
So
we had a lot of
high.
pizza.
Yeah.
It seems like every pizza place is open, everybody else is closed. Pizza open.
Yeah,
But had good pizza.
Yeah, and you couldn't really go to the ATM while you were there because everything was down. Yeah. So we had the cash that we had, and we're like, okay, we got to make sure we're like smart with this. But it was, it just was, and it's still not. It's not what I expected of the town. And once I got around to it not being what I thought it was going to be, then
you can bring that hypes back up. Right?
Yeah, I let go of my
change a little bit.
ideas.
Just expectations change,
and then it went right back up to being a hype. So yeah, that was New Mexico. Good times. I would go there, I think, with friends. I don't think I would spend 9 days there. If I were a skier and it was during ski season, I think it would be a whole
even then
other
experience. I would probably opt for a different place, right? Because to get to the resorts, you're a 45 minute to an hour drive, so like probably want to stay closer to resorts or in the resorts. But if you
I don't
kind of want the Aspeny vibe, I don't know.
I think it's a
Aspen,
different life in if you were a skier and I'm not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it ended up being really cool, and it's not something that I would be like, don't go to Taos. I think it's something that people should go experience. It's still pretty cool, especially if you can. If we weren't working and we could have split it between Santa Fe and Taos, it would have been probably super amazing.
I would have done that.
I wish I knew that, because we're doing 8 weeks and we're only taking 1 week of vacation through this whole trip, and I think I would have considered taking some time off while we were there, just because it is a quieter town. Things do close early, and we were working until 3 o'clock Mountain Time, so it made it difficult to experience some of the things, especially when they had no internet or phone service to run some of the businesses. So it kind of was like gripey, but not really.
Yeah. So I mean, aside from the people that we've talked about that we've met,
There's
another guy that we met at the brewery.
So we met some really
Jeremy,
great people, like when you think about it. But the ones that we met that weren't so great, it kind of really like stuck with us.
A little poopy.
Yeah.
But overall, Taos worth a visit. It was a good visit. And the hike was amazing. If we could have done more hikes, because the weather was less intrusive, we would have done more. So that probably would have upped the hype factor a little bit there. Also, a lot of hikes were on all trails. They had kind of crummy reviews because of all the down trees and stuff. They were like, you couldn't follow the trail anymore because the markers were gone and stuff like that. So that might have been a big challenge for us, stuff like that. But either way, Taos is a pretty town. There's a lot of beauty around it, and I would go back there, but there's some gripes, but there's definitely some hypes.
Yes,
definitely some hypes.
Yes, cheers to Taos.
Yeah, cheers to Taos with my now empty glass.
I still have almost all of mine. All right, well, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of 20 for Life. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.